Imagine walking home alone at night only to find out later that you crossed paths with a real-life murderer. This is not a hypothetical scenario for our first story, but a chilling reality. In the quiet town of Pleasantville, a woman named Sarah was making her way home after a late shift at the local diner. The streets were deserted, bathed in the faint glow of the street lamps. A man suddenly appeared from the shadows, his face obscured by the darkness. Something about him felt off to Sarah. There was an unsettling aura about him that made her skin crawl. But being the kind-hearted soul she was, she dismissed her unease, attributing it to her tiredness and the late hour. The man asked for directions to the nearest gas station. Sarah, eager to keep the interaction brief, quickly pointed him in the right direction. He thanked her in a gruff voice that sent a shiver down her spine. As he walked away, Sarah felt a sense of relief wash over her. She hurried home, her heart pounding in her chest. Days later, Sarah was watching the news when a familiar face flashed across the screen. It was the man from that night. The headline read, "Wanted for murder." Her blood turned icy cold. The man she had helped was a murderer. The unsettling feeling she had experienced that night was not just her imagination, but a gut instinct warning her of the danger she was in. Sarah was lucky. She had escaped unscathed from her encounter with a murderer. But the incident left her shaken. Every time she walked home alone at night, she would remember the man's face, his gruff voice, and the sense of unease she had felt. It was a chilling reminder of the danger that could lurk in the most unsuspecting of places. A chilling encounter that would leave anyone questioning every stranger they meet on a dark, lonely road. What if you discovered your friendly next-door neighbor was actually a cold-blooded killer? Imagine a quaint, peaceful neighborhood, the kind where children play in the streets, neighbors exchange pleasantries, and community spirit is palpable. In such a place lived our protagonist, a man of simple tastes and simpler living who held a cordial relationship with everyone on the block, including the man who lived next door. This neighbor, let's call him Mr. Smith, was an unassuming man. He was polite, sociable, and always ready to lend a helping hand. He seemed no different from any other neighbor, a part of the community fabric, a friendly face in the crowd. Our protagonist and Mr. Smith had shared many a cup of coffee, discussing everything from sports to local politics. They had even helped each other with house chores on more than one occasion. They were, for all intents and purposes, good neighbors. But, as it so often happens, appearances can be deceiving. One day, the tranquil neighborhood was stirred by the wailing sirens of police cars. The target? Mr. Smith's house. The charge? Murder. Mr. Smith was arrested for a series of gruesome killings that had plagued the region for months. The protagonist was left reeling from the revelation. The friendly face, the shared moments, the neighborly bond, all of it was tainted by the shocking reality of Mr. Smith's dark secret. The man who had been nothing but a good neighbor was, in fact, a ruthless murderer. In the aftermath of the discovery, the protagonist grappled with disbelief and horror. The memory of every interaction was now laced with the chilling knowledge of Mr. Smith's true nature. It was a profound reminder of how well people can hide their darkest secrets, even in the most ordinary of circumstances. A shocking revelation that forces us to wonder, do we really know who our neighbors are? Hitchhiking can lead to unexpected journeys, but what happens when your passenger is a murderer on the run? Picture this, a solitary driver on a long, desolate highway, his only company the steady thrum of the engine and the whispering wind. He spots a lone figure, thumb outstretched, a hitchhiker. A moment of empathy, a nod of mutual understanding, and the stranger slides into the passenger seat. The hitchhiker is oddly quiet, his eyes darting, his fingers twitching. The driver, initially unperturbed, attempts to break the ice with small talk. But the passenger's responses are curt, his gaze distant. His demeanor is unsettling, but the driver dismisses it as the weariness of a long journey. Night falls, the radio crackles to life with a news bulletin, a chilling tale of a murderer on the loose. The driver's heart begins to pound as the description of the fugitive matches that of the silent stranger beside him. The same shifty gaze, the same nervous twitch. Panic surges, but the driver keeps his cool. He glances at the hitchhiker who remains oblivious, lost in his own world. The driver's mind races, formulating a plan. He decides to make a stop at a nearby gas station and alert the authorities. But as he pulls into the gas station, the hitchhiker suddenly springs to life, bolts out of the car, and disappears into the night. The driver, shaken but unharmed, reports the incident to the police. They arrive within minutes and the manhunt begins. 3 chilling encounters, 3 ordinary lives forever marked by the shadow of death. Each tale, a testament to the grim fact that horror is not confined to the pages of a book or the frames of a film. It lurks in our world, sometimes in places we least expect. Let's revisit these tales not for the thrill of the macabre, but to unravel the profound impact they had on those who lived them. Our first encounter, that unsettling face-to-face with a predator, marked an end to innocence and a beginning to a lifetime of caution. The victim's world was redefined by fear, their trust in humanity forever broken, yet their spirit remained unyielded, their courage a beacon for us all. The second story took us next door, where horror wore the mask of a neighbor. A polite nod, a casual conversation, and all the while, a deadly secret was being harbored. The revelation shook the foundations of trust, creating ripples that echoed through the community. The neighbor, once seen as a friendly face, transformed into a symbol of betrayal, a reminder that appearances can be deceiving. Our final tale placed us in the passenger seat of a hitchhiker's nightmare. The open road, once a symbol of freedom and adventure, became a path to terror. The traveler, forever scarred by the encounter, carried the burden of knowledge that a single decision could lead to a brush with death. These encounters, though bound by the threat of horror, also speak volumes about resilience. Each individual, in their own way, found the strength to cope and to carry on, their lives testament to the human spirit's tenacity. They remind us that bravery is not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward in spite of it. In the end, these stories serve as stark reminders of the darkness that can lurk in the most unexpected places, even right next door. The world is full of mysteries, some far more chilling than any fiction. As we delve into the abyss of the unknown, we find ourselves confronted with tales that surpass our darkest nightmares. The chilling encounters we've shared today are not fabricated tales of horror, but stark and sobering realities. The unsettling, unknowing, and unforgettable encounters that we've discussed are not isolated incidents. They serve as stark reminders of the world's hidden horrors and the inherent unpredictability of life. Each story, each encounter, is a testament to the human capacity for survival against chilling odds. The individuals involved in these encounters faced real-life nightmares, coming face-to-face with those whose actions are the stuff of horror stories. Yet, they endured, forever marked by their experiences. Their stories serve as a chilling reminder that fear is not always derived from the supernatural or the imagined, but can be born from the very real and the very human. These encounters also underscore the importance of vigilance and intuition. The ability to sense danger, to trust your gut, can sometimes be the only thing standing between you and a dire situation. It's a sobering thought, but one that underscores our shared human instinct for survival. So, as we conclude this exploration into the eerie realm of real-life horror, we invite you to reflect on these stories. Consider the courage it takes to share such experiences and the strength it requires to move forward in their wake. If you have similar experiences or thoughts to share, we encourage you to do so. Your stories, your insights contribute to a broader understanding of the world's mysteries and the unexplained phenomena that continue to intrigue us. Remember, sometimes the most terrifying stories are not the ones we make up, but the ones that are all too real. Stay safe out there, and until next time, keep your eyes open and your wits about you.